from Palestine. Hi, how are you, Hasan? Hi again.
Hi. Hi
Apologies
again.
for
Yeah, I'm
all the
good.
interference. We know the internet is going crazy here in Italy, in Palestine, in Egypt. We're having issues everywhere. But we're ready and we're here to talk about transformation and transforming your business in times of crisis. Hassan, you were explaining a little bit about what this means and what it involves, right? We were saying coronavirus is now added to one of the major drivers for business transformation, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And it's an unexpected one, and it's
Mhm.
forceful, and you
Mhm.
just have to do it right now. So you have to start transforming your business right now. If you want to be alive, if I may call it, if you want to be in the business, in the game after this pandemic just pass.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, what does this mean? What does it involve to transform your business or to start a process of business transformation?
Yeah. Again, first of all, you have to understand what you need to transform,
Right.
and then you have to understand what's your goal of this transformation. So uh, uh, um, you need to transforming the business, not just changing the field of work. It's not
Yeah.
about changing your services and products. Again, it's about the way I say it's about utilization. It's the best way you can utilize your resources to achieve better outcomes. So either again, it's just entering an emerging market, new markets, better or higher revenues, or whatever of those desired outcomes. So, in order to do that, there are many approaches to start transforming your business.
Yeah.
But the most important one, because the approaches just change and the techniques change based on your needs, based on your circumstances and different drivers. But the
Right.
most important thing is to have the transformational mindset, where transformation is always important. It's a continuous process. It's important to keep the cycle running, and it's important to keep you in the business before just scaling. One of the most important, or let's say famous approaches, maybe, if I may call it, to doing your transformation is a triangle where you can enhance your executions, you have to increase your transparency, and you have to decrease the complexity. So the complexity, let's give an example about it. Just look where are the complex points and processes in your business. If you have a centralized decision making company or startup, it's something
Yeah.
that's going to need a lot of time, it needs a lot of approvals, etc. So this is a complex thing where it won't work to enhance your the utilization of your resources and to enhance or to achieve the proper business transformation if you don't decrease the complexity of such aspects. Another thing, it's about let's say the execution or enhancing your execution. So cutting the cost or finding a better management approach,
Right.
finding a better customer experience. All of those things are examples to enhance or to enhance your execution. So with this
Right.
triangle, enhancing the execution,
Mm-hmm.
decreasing the complexity, and increasing the transparency, you can implement or do or have a proper business transformation for your business, whether you're a small enterprise or you're just a large corporation or a startup, doesn't matter. Because again, the details and the most suitable technique is based on the stage you are in, the sector you're working in, your circumstances. The important is the mindset itself, and it's all about looking on the future. So you said, or you talked about the pandemic, and we talked about that the largest impact is that it was completely unexpected. It just
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you have to do it right now. You have to deal with it right now. That's
Yeah.
why, if I may just want to go to something, a concept that was invented by the US military in the 1990s
Mm-hmm.
in the Gulf War.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the VUCA world. Have you ever heard about it? The VUCA
No.
world, it's VUCA. It was a military term, and it's now a business term. And
Uh-huh.
if we were able to implement or reflect this approach, this mindset on the business, I think we can be ready. I don't want to say avoid, but be ready to deal with such crisis and pandemic or any challenges.
Mm-hmm.
VUCA, the V stands for volatility. The
Uh-huh.
U, it's uncertainty. The C, it's complexity. And the A, ambiguity. So, you know, you cannot just predict or you cannot have an accurate prediction about what's going on with the business because it's unstable. It's right. As an example, we weren't thinking about a lockdown and about curfew right now.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
weren't even prepared, or most of us weren't even prepared to work from
Yeah.
home or to find a way to deliver their services and products from home. That's why most of the businesses out there are just sitting home, not knowing what to do. So
Right.
we need to understand that we are living in a business world where you cannot, or it's unstable, it's changing
Mm-hmm.
continuously and quickly, and that's
Mm-hmm.
important to understand the time or the timing. And the way we can deal with this part is to have better resources, more flexible resources to be ready for any unexpected challenge that we might face. The second one is uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
So the history cannot benefit us like before at this moment. If you have best practices are not the solution anymore. They help,
Mm-hmm.
they're important to take or to be like a learning curve, but they're not working properly for the current period or the future. So because everything is changing,
Mm-hmm.
we cannot just rely 100% on previous information.
Right.
Again, going back, and I'll talk about it at the end, to the timing. So in order to avoid such thing, startups should be investors. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's different. So
Startups to
startups
be
should,
investors. Uh-huh.
yeah, startups should invest, especially in data and to
Mm-hmm.
understand more.
Right.
So I'm not saying that they should go and just have acquisition over a company or just put money on other companies, but they have to invest during their journey while they are providing their products and services to their customers. They have to invest in gathering information, in analyzing information, and in understanding information. Because most of the people they stop on the analysis part, and startups need this thing more than the large corporations. I was reading that we know that data is the new oil, but many of the management thinkers worldwide are going to focus on the small data right now rather than the big data, because the human factor is still in there, and it's like right now it's not just about how much data we have. Most of the large countries in the world and the most powerful people in the world are not able to deal with this pandemic. So we need to understand how the human mind is working, and we need to get back to the human part in business. The survival instinct we have right now is just contradicting a lot of the business theories and how people might behave. The behavioral economics too, the irrational behaviors of people, especially under stress. We need to understand this aspect right now to be able to deal with the uncertainty that we are facing in the business. The complexity, the multi-layer, let's say, and the a lot of interconnected points that affects any decision or any business or any market. It's affecting us in a very crazy way. So we need to deal with such problem too. And the last thing is that most of the information and the markets that we are living in and working in are not clear anymore. We don't have good clarity about it. And the most important thing and the best way to deal with this is adaptability. If you are rigid, if you have just one approach, if you're strict with this approach, you will not be able to deal with this unclarity about this market. So it's a VUCA world. It's uncertain. It's unstable. It's not that clear anymore, and it's really complex. You need to understand this thing, and if you are able to understand it, you will be able to predict what you need to do. And if you're able to predict what you need to do, if you have a vision, you can start the proper transformation for your business. And that's the most important thing, to reach this mindset, to be able to do it.
Right. Right, right. Um, Now, when we think about different roads that entrepreneurs can take, right, in order to transform their business, given the difficulties that we're experiencing today, difficulties that are affecting everyone. So basically, the sales of products and services is getting very, very difficult because people are not basically going out of their house, right? Um, we have added difficulties in the region, like the Middle East, because fintech and it's a cash-based economy in many, many of those countries. So what do you think are roads that entrepreneurs can take for transformation today?
Um, I might say one word: value.
Hmm.
So, if we are able to understand what's the value that we are selling, we can
Hmm.
transform the business.
Right.
Um, Again, you can get in touch with IT developers, let's say, or technical people. You can get in touch with different markets. We have access, and we have to be grateful for what we're having right now. If this happened years ago, we wouldn't be able doing this session, or just sharing those experiences, or just reaching our clients or providers or stakeholders or whatever you want to call them. So first of all, we have access. It's limited, it's not like before, but we have it. The
Hmm.
second thing, we need to understand the value that we are providing,
Right.
and how we want to provide it, how we need to provide it. And if you are able to do that, you can find the proper way to start your business transformation within this period. So let's go back to the transformation. We
Hmm.
have two stages at the moment. The bigger umbrella, let's say, which is the transformation for your whole business, to be more agile, to be more flexible, to be to utilize your resources and achieve better results. But you cannot do all of that at this moment. You have to start with the first step, which is doing this business transformation, the urgent business transformation within the lockdown and the curfew. If you were, uh, uh, um, if something happened in a building and it's caught on fire and you're just escaping for your life, this is what you're focused on. But if someone's trying to kill you during this process, you will start on just being alive and survive from this killer before thinking about the fire again. So the urgency is important, the timing is important.
Yeah.
In order to transform the business while we are in the lockdown and the curfew, the most important thing is to focus on the value. What is the value that our customer is seeking, so we can be able to deliver it? If
Right.
they're looking for a connection or a customer care, or they want us to be close to them, focus on delivering this thing. You can
Right.
just have those calls, just follow up on them, sending those
Right.
emails, sending this
Right.
value. If they
Right.
want something else, you need to find this value.
Hmm. Hmm. Right. And it goes back to speaking constantly, interacting constantly with customers, right? And really trying to serve them as best as possible. Now, when it comes to making these decisions, there's a lot of future thinking involved, right? So how can one forecast the future? And right now, we do not know when this is going to end. We do not know when we're gonna go out of the house again. So how can you predict or forecast the future in order to make these decisions and kind of have a financial forecast as well?
Um, it's a very interesting part, by the way, and I've been pushing hard on this concept for the last year, especially, because uh, before talking about or answering this question, I want to mention one
Mhm.
point because it's the
Yeah.
driver of this.
Yeah.
What I call my best friend and my worst enemy, which is time.
Hmm.
No
Hmm.
matter how data you have, no matter how good you are with the analysis, you will reach a point in every single business, every single decision, that it has to be judgmental. You have the best analysis, but you have to
Hmm.
make this decision. You
Hmm.
have this part. So
Hmm.
the experience tell us that you need to take it slowly. But what we see is that you sleep with an idea today and you wake up on someone who has implemented it tomorrow. So it's really crazy and contradicting how this time thing is working. In order to be able to deal with uh, the impact of timing on us, you need to always predict the future. And if I may say it, it's more like finding the potential futures rather than predicting it. And one of the best ways is using the horizon scanning, where you start thinking about, again, or exploring what are the potential futures rather than predicting what will happen. And one of the best techniques is something, or you can find it in a book, it's called The Three Horizons, which is the Three
Uh-huh.
Horizons framework.
Mm-hmm.
So you start by analyzing and asking questions to understand the regular business, the usual business that you're doing right now. Where is it going to take you after 2 to 3 to 5 years? So you start asking how we are doing this business as usual. What are our resources? What are our outcomes? What are our goals? What are the challenges, etc. So it's mostly going to decrease by time. So
Mm-hmm.
the dominant pattern, it's like the y and x axis. So on the y axis, it's the dominant pattern, and the x axis, it's the time. So the dominant pattern right now is the usual business, but it's
Mm-hmm.
expected to decrease by time.
Mm-hmm.
The other horizon, let's say, which is your aspiration and where your aspiration are going to get you. And we start asking the same questions: where we want to be, what we want to achieve after a few years, how we're going to do that, what's going to be the dominant pattern after those years. Right now, those aspirations or those people who think in this way, they are the future leaders. They are who are going to conquer the future and they're going to lead it. And
Right.
at the moment, it's the lowest pattern out there, but we know it for a fact it's going to be leading in the future. And this is where it comes the third pattern, which is the other drivers, like
Mm-hmm.
this disease or this pandemic and those unpredicted circumstances, those drivers that force us to change, force us to do something, to transform. So the current innovations, the disruptions, an existing innovation, and an emerging market, a disaster, and everything. So they force us to change. They force us to start doing something different. After analyzing and asking all of those questions about those three levels, just gather a couple of people, just do your video call with your team, try to have different mindsets, different expertise, and start discussing those results. And
Mm-hmm.
this is how, or one of the easiest and most powerful ways to start predicting what might happen in the future. And there are many tools out there to help you predict in the future. But the important thing is to focus on those, on the current, or what's going on right now, what we want to achieve, and what are the drivers out there that are out of our hands.
Right, right. Now, in terms of mindset, there's a lot of instability, a lot of stress, anxiety. This not knowing what's going to happen is making us very anxious, right? All of us entrepreneurs. Um, do you have mindset hacks, mindset techniques? How can entrepreneurs be prepared for what's coming and sort of bear with, everything we're going through right now?
Ow. So yeah, it's hard because everyone will just reach a point where, oh, that's it, I can't do it anymore, and this is too much, and I just want to stay home, and I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I like the concept I've read 2 days ago. Um, I forgot its name, but today, if you didn't start working out or doing something at home or achieving something, you will feel guilt.
Mm-hmm.
This guilt will, it's like putting gas on fire, so it's increasing the guilt from inside you. So
Mm-hmm.
after a period of time, you will start feeling more and more guilt, and you will not do anything else. You will just repeat the same circle, which is doing nothing and feeling the guilt again. um, it's the best way. And about this psychological part,
Mm-hmm.
it's simple. There is no magical wand. There is no
Mm-hmm.
magical solution. It's about
Mm-hmm.
trying and doing it. So I want just to give an advice about a triangle that a friend of mine created. He's called Terence Maury,
Mm-hmm.
a leadership thinker, and he said that if you want to have a leader's mindset, which is the solution, by the way, if you want to have a leader's mindset, you have to act bold, sorry, think big, act bold, and learn fast.
Right.
So you're in uh, 10 square meters room, think bigger than the world. When you think this big, just have the confidence to start acting. If you're shy to put your content out there, start creating your content and put it. If you're shy or not confident that you have enough resources, try what you have in mind. It doesn't matter. Because,
Right.
of course, you will fail. But that takes us to the third point, learn fast. When you fail, just repeat. So
Right.
think, do, repeat, think, do, repeat. If you give yourself or your mind the time to think about those things, you will not do it.
Right.
So it's about timing. If you give the time the power to control you and to give you the rational analysis, you're conscious just to think, you will not do it. So
Right.
it's time to give the space for our subconscious to take the decision, to start doing it. You're not risking anything. When you're doing something online, you're not risking anything. The only thing you might risk is your reputation. But why I'm not saying you're not risking anything? Because if you're not doing something, you're already losing your reputation. You're already losing your customer base. So just
Right.
start doing this thing.
Right. I like that. I like that. And I mean, it makes me think of, I don't know if you've ever heard of Mel Robbins and the 5-second rule. So basically, she says that whenever our mind hesitates in 5 seconds, so the time for our mind to hesitate before taking action is 5 seconds. So she has this rule that whenever you have to make a big decision, even if that is just the decision of getting out of bed in the morning, right? But when everything pulls you aside or pulls you back, you just have to count backwards from 5 to 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go and do it, and not hesitating. And I love what you're saying, exactly, because it's exactly the same, right? Do not think, just act fast, and then you learn from it, and then act again, and then you learn from it, right?
And you've got
Yeah.
nothing to lose. That's one of the most amazing advantages that we've ever had. You are not losing anything at all. You're just putting your content out there. If it doesn't work, you just lost your time, which is a learning curve. So just learn, look for experts, and this is something important. Don't go for experts to teach you about theories and literature. I hate that. Google is better than any of us. You can read forever on Google. Just
Right.
Google whatever you need to do and learn from there. Go for experts for the practical experience because they
Right.
know the shortcuts. So use those online platforms. LinkedIn, you have many people. And by the way, this is a very important, if I may say, tip. Most of us lose opportunities because we are shy or afraid. So
Right.
I know Valentina, and I want to approach or to have a contact in Italy. Most of the time, most of the people will think that she might see that I'm not qualified, or she might not help me, or she might be busy. So what? She will say no.
Right.
You
Yeah.
cannot imagine how many opportunities we can grab and seize if we just ask for help. So start approaching people the proper way and ask for help. You cannot imagine the doors that you will open for yourself.
Right, right. That's true. That's true, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have the no in Spanish. We have a phrase that says, "No is already there." We have the no. What can you lose? What do you have to lose? You can just gain a yes, or the no that which you already had if you didn't ask. That's a great point.
Exactly.
Yeah. Have you witnessed? I mean, we're 3 weeks now in quarantine. I mean, here we're on the 4th week. It's been almost half a month in most of the world. Have you seen business transformation taking place in some businesses? I mean, if you can give us some examples, either of global companies or Middle Eastern companies that have started enacting this transformation that we can take as an example.
You as an example. So yeah. So but I'm following on what you're doing, and it's amazing, by the way. But I think most of it, if it's not all of it, was like, if I may call it, offline support or enabling for this ecosystem, and just thinking quickly and doing. And I think yesterday or the day before, one of your guests just mentioned the same point too. That yesterday, Patrick just thought quickly, and you started providing or trying to provide what you can online and gathering those people, and you weren't shy to ask. Okay, we have those quarantine sessions. Are you willing to join? Yes. No, it's a no. So thinking big you approach people from different places around the world,
Yeah.
and acting bold, being confident to ask,
Mm-hmm.
being confident to take this step, being confident to reconnect us today after this
Mm-hmm.
cut.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing is to learn. So you
Mm-hmm.
told me in one of our conversations that, okay, Facebook is not doing this, we're using this platform, blah, blah, blah. So
Yeah.
this is learning.
Yeah.
This is the best. This is an amazing example. I've seen a couple of startups too, just trying to provide. Most of them, they're trying to have like digital transformation.
Yeah.
As for the large companies, I don't have, to be honest, a specific example in mind, but what I've seen that most of them are reacting to this pandemic. They have something to do, and that's because most of those large successful corporations, they have the mindset, they have the teams, they have the people who keep thinking about the future and who act fast, and they have the resources. So they're dealing with this VUCA world. They're more capable to deal with it. That's why I always advise startups to have this mindset. Don't think that you are just a startup. Think like you are the largest corporate in the world. What you're going to do when you're successful, when you identify the gaps that you don't have, the resources that you don't have, this is your next strategic plan. Those are the gaps that you need to bridge and you need to fill.
Right, right. There's a few comments from the audience. So Don is saying, well said. Mohammed is also saying, well said, Hassan. Thank you, guys. If you have questions, please type them in the comments. Hassan is going to answer them. I have another one. So, in the midst of this chaotic situation, uncertainty, um, is it a good time for idea stage startups that perhaps were initiating their first steps? Is it a good time to launch and keep going with their plans, or should they pause and rethink about their business model?
Going back, it's all about timing. It's never the right time to launch a business. It hasn't been since year zero, and it will
Mhm.
not be after 2000 years. So you will never have the perfect time to launch a business.
Mhm.
So it's always the answer is always yes. There is always an opportunity, and I believe that opportunities, or the best opportunities, come when we have challenges and when we face huge challenges like this, global challenges, because this is a forceful transformational period. So um, the important thing is to understand what's going on if you want to start a business, because yeah, it's not the right time. Sorry, it's always the right time to start a business, but it's harder right now. Focus on your customers.
Mhm.
Be driven by the customers and by the market,
Mhm.
or the beneficiaries. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
what type of business you are. So uh, what the world need to do, what's going to happen after the pandemic. I know it's urgency to survive right now, and our human survival instinct is controlling us. But let's assume that everything will end in a week, hopefully, and we just go back to our normal life. Are we ready? How many of those businesses will be out to the market, and what
Mhm.
are the opportunities out there? What is the need out there? So if you're starting your business right now, just go for it. Understand what do we need, and I mean the world by we, and then find the solution. So don't start with the solution and try just to stick it to a problem. It doesn't work that way. Not every solution has a problem, but
Yeah.
every problem has a solution.
Right.
So understand the problem or the opportunity, and
Mhm.
then find your solution for it. It's always the right time.
Right, right. Well, thank you so much. This has been so insightful. I think before ending, I would like you to ask you if you have advice for entrepreneurs right now. You've given us a lot of tips today, but thinking larger, thinking a bit bigger. Do you have an advice? If I come to you as an entrepreneur, what should I do? What's your advice?
It's all in your hands. So entrepreneurship is, it's like a career for me. So it's not suitable for everyone. Everyone should or must have an entrepreneurial mindset, but to
Hmm.
become an entrepreneur is not a must for everyone.
Right.
So if you choose to work as an entrepreneur and live as an entrepreneur, it's all in your hands. The time is something that you will never ever control. There are many things out there that you will never ever control. There are many things that will change. Your resources, your successes, your milestones, etc. Your business model will change a lot.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's always out there is you. So when you
Hmm.
understand your capability, when you work on enhancing those capabilities and this mindset, you will be able to achieve something. It doesn't have to be that you will be a successful entrepreneur. You might decide to quit this career path and go to something else, but you will
Hmm.
succeed. You will achieve something. So the most important thing is to understand your capabilities, understand what you want, and
Hmm.
work on those capabilities, because you are the only consistent factor in this equation.
Right. Right. It's a journey, right? It's the entrepreneur's journey aside from the
Yeah,
startup or from the company. Yeah.
exactly.
Well, thank you so much, Hassan. I hope that this quarantine is very productive to you and for you. I hope that it ends soon and we can. I mean, they say we're not going back to normal, right? So it's going to be a new normal, probably. We don't know.
Exactly. We're not at all.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's not bad, by the way. That's not bad at all.
No, it doesn't necessarily have to be bad. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many things that we're already not working, right? For us as a human race, and for us as the way we're doing businesses and consuming and everything. So I think, a new normal will be it's quite exciting. I mean, if we get through it fast enough.
We will, and just get one advice in mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you're thinking about transformation, think about the way you deal money with people. Because I
Hmm.
don't believe at all that we will still deal with cash the same way we used to.
Yeah.
Immediately, the amount of cash that we're going to deal with is going to decrease, and I believe it's going to decrease in a large percentage.
Yeah.
People will still afraid. Many of them will be traumatized, and just think focus a lot on the financial, let's say, process between you and your clients, because that's going to be a huge area of transformation immediately in your business.
Right. Right. Well, so we have a question now, just before we go, right on time. Muhammad Ali is saying, yes, it's harder now since my business is based on physical interaction, it's based on classes and workshops. How can I transform it? Any advice?
Um, that's amazing. If it's based on classes and workshops, it's about content. So
Yeah.
you just decrease the cost of having a physical workshop and just do it online. And right now, you're not afraid anymore or worried anymore about people just looking at you. Why you're doing it in a very cheap place? Why you're not doing it in 5-star hotel? Everyone's doing it at home. The rich people, the poor people, the successful, the failures, everyone's doing it at home. So just sit at home, start doing your workshops at home. That's much easier. You have the edge.
Right, right. I mean, we're seeing a lot of that kind of promise of the educational tech sector, right? The ed tech sector that
Yeah.
is booming these days because everyone. I mean, I am seeing even those mentors that were doing courses online from the US. I mean, very very successful people, and they are doubling down on the advertising and the marketing right now because they know there's more potential customers out there. Everyone is at home, so everyone is a potential customer for their courses, right? So this gives us a clue of where the industry is going, where this specific edtech industry is heading towards, right?
Yeah, and you need to learn fast about this thing because the peak hour, let's say on Facebook, mainly in the MENA region, if it's not globally, was like around 9 a.m. and 7 p.m., something like that.
Yeah,
That's not working anymore. So
yeah.
just don't keep and I'm not I'm a marketing or social media expert, but don't keep your post waiting till those hours.
Hmm.
Everyone is online all the time. People has, and even most of the people who says that we're working at home, they're just surfing the internet at home. They're not working at home. So just use that thing. Read
Right.
about the behavioral economics, which is the explanation of the irrational behaviors of people. If you understand those things, you can utilize it to sell your products and services. And so in one situation, yes, you're getting more money from people, but you're providing them with good products and services. So understand how the human mind is working, and that's how you're going to do it.
Right, right. That's fabulous advice. Great advice. I haven't read that book yet, so surely gonna try it. So once again, thank you so much, Hasan. As I say to everyone in the interviews, happy quarantine. Let's make the best of this time. Let's turn this challenge into an opportunity to learn and connect with other people. Have a lovely evening.
Thank you. You too, Valentina.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye bye.